For all verified facts, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello and welcome. The government has launched a transparent taxation honoring the honest platform. This aims to bring in transparency in income tax systems and empower taxpayers. The Prime Minister Modi has said that this will be seamless, painless, and faceless. So what does this really mean? And what does it mean to you as a taxpayer? And how should you be ready for this new era of interacting with the tax department if you have to? To answer this question and the ones that will follow after that, I'm joined by Rahul Garg, partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers. Rahul, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. And I see what you clearly articulated, that this is faceless, this is painless. I would think that the COVID crisis has made us all look at the technology adoption at a much faster pace. And as Satya Nadella said, we transformed ourselves, what we would have done in 2 years, in 2 months. And I think tax department is not behind. They have been at it for some time, but now making it effective just from today. And you saw the CBDT notification, which says that effective 13th August, these things would be done by e-assessment, exception being only the international tax cases and central circle cases. And even for appeals, Prime Minister did say that 25th September onwards, we would get all the appeals done through the e-portal. I think it is a very, very welcome step to use technology to make sure that the business and enterprises are focused on what they need to do to run the business and don't get distracted in doing the compliances.
Right. So if you do interact with the tax department, it's obviously because the tax department has passed an order against you or has raised a query for something that you have an answer for. Now, in the past, you could go to someone, take documents with you, explain and impress upon them what the case was or not. How will that change? And is this situation going to be easier, or is it going to be more tricky?
It would be just like we are doing this interview now, so to say, in the figure of speech. If required, you could go to an extent of interviewing people, but since it is faceless, you would not have that digital technology being available, and therefore you would need to still articulate things in the written language. And we all know that the language, despite being an institution for 1,000 years plus, is not a perfect institution. There is always some ambiguity in understanding. There is always some limitation as to what you can put in the language. And that's why the tax department also runs into so much disputes with the taxpayers. So I would think it would require a mindset, and which is the point that was made by Prime Minister, that we need to have a very constructive mindset as to what to expect out of it. And then and only then such a thing would work. And to my mind, it is very apparent that the mindset change is a prerequisite for this to happen. And for this, if the taxpayer and tax department are committed, we could avoid the pitfalls in this.
Right. So appeals can now go to any officer randomly anywhere in the country. How do you see that working out? I mean, there could be some businesses, industries where, let's say, tax officials have developed an understanding of. Now, suddenly, if it goes to another, like, let's say, Bangalore tax officials are more used to dealing with technology companies and all the intricacies that brings. Maybe Mumbai tax officials are used to dealing with media and entertainment, just as an example. But now you're saying...
I would think that the allocation being done randomly would still have some order in that randomness. And this is like saying that on our digital health side, you could be allotted a doctor randomly. But if you have a heart problem, you would not be given a doctor who is a orthopedician, right? So therefore, I would think that within the randomness, there would still be some order where you know that these people are specialized in this industry or in this business model or in this transaction. And therefore, within that group of people, you could make the choice. It would not be a blind random thing to be done at random.
Right. So now in the budget in 2020, that's the February 2020 budget, also talked about faceless appeal. So is this the same faceless appeal?
Yes, it is the same faceless appeal. As you know that tax department in India has been fairly rapidly going through the digitizing its function, and the appeal filing, etc., has already been digitized, and it was now the interaction in dealing with the appeals, just like the interaction in dealing with the assessment, which is now said that effective 25th of September this year, that would also be done through the digital mode.
Right, and the budget 2019 talked about e-assessment, which has also got underway. So now e-assessment with faceless appeals. So what's actually new? Is it the part about randomly assigning officials?
I think there are three new things here. One is that when you do such things through digital technology, you have an ability to run the analytics to see that whether the similar taxpayers in similar situations are similarly treated or not. So if you understand the mechanism of the e-assessment, it also has a layer of review. And the layer of review is to make sure that similar situations are similarly dealt with, and that would bring a very different order of trust amongst the taxpayer and the tax department. People would not think that, oh my God, another guy got away with this and I could have done the same thing. So I think that would change the mindset very, very significantly, and also create trust between the taxpayer and the tax department that similarly placed people are similarly treated. The other big advantage of that would be that if there are assessments to be taken, once you know through the analytics that these are the common issues where taxpayers need or adjustment in the tax returns are needed, you don't need to undertake an assessment as a full-fledged assessment. You can simply take that thing out and require all the taxpayers to deal with that through the e-assessment procedure in a very, very limited manner. Therefore, you are not dependent that if the scrutiny is happening only for 0.25% cases, those alone should be treated for any adjustment. You would have, once it matures, the data to see that people whose cases even are not taken up for regular scrutiny, in a limited scrutiny manner, those cases also get the similar adjustment, so that it is not a matter of chance of getting in scrutiny and therefore getting the tax adjustment.
So, Rahul, in your understanding, do other countries follow similar procedures?
So there are countries who follow various degree of the automation, and there are even courts in the countries which have complete digital hearings and digital submission and pleadings. So there are various stages in various countries where this is adopted and is reasonably succeeding, both in the matter of dispute resolution as well as in the matter of the government interaction. And in some countries, you won't believe that there is no human intervention. There is not even faceless. They have designed the algorithm to say that, look, if cases below a certain radar comes up, then those get decided based on some algorithm that has been learned by the machines over a period of time. So we would also get to that level where the human intervention would not need to be even faceless for some of the matters which are very fairly standard or become standard by repeatedly spacing them.
Right. So last question, Rahul. So if I'm a small business person or a self-employed person, and those are the kind of people who are likely to face questions about their filings and so on. If something happens, then should I be worried or should I trust the system? If so, how?
No, I think you should first of all trust the system much more than you could have trusted otherwise, because it's a matter of record. It is online and it is contemporaneous, and it is not something which somebody could play you with. So I think that itself gives that as a process, it is very mature and controllable. And therefore, to my mind, that gives a lot of trust. The second thing is that, which was emphasized in the charter, you would notice that the taxpayers, one of the duty listed is to keep proper records. So I think this aspect of keeping proper records is very uh, uh, carefully said in this taxpayer charter, but it has much more implication for economy as a whole. The formalization of economy would go to a very different level if all the taxpayers start keeping the records as are needed to be kept for tax purposes, because today those records, if they are kept in the digital form, become the assets. A banker today may not give a loan to somebody who says my turnover is 30 lakhs unless he has the digital record of his turnover. But if he keeps the digital record of his turnover, he would not only end up complying with the tax laws, he would be able to assetize, if I may use that word, or monetize his revenue by creating a security against them. So I would think, look at it from an overall economic perspective, the record keeping is a step in right direction, not only for tax purposes, but also for formalizing the economy, which would make the access of the financial inclusiveness much more and more pervasive.
Right, Rahul Garg, partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and providing the perspective to this new
Thank
platform,
you very much.
Transparent Taxation, Honoring the Honest platform. Thank you so much.